times, and I believe any other etiquette consultant will receive pushback from individuals who do not understand the dynamics of refinement or proper etiquette, proper deportment. So I just pretty much just tell them, hey, this is only for those who are interested in being refined. I do respect your decision if this is not you. And this is a regular dialogue on Facebook, on TikTok, Instagram, where folks do not understand it and don't appreciate it. And I respectfully explain to them, I respect your decision. This is only for those who choose to be refined. Other than that, we have a vast amount of folks who are very interested in learning how to conduct themselves properly. And what motivates me is that when finished with a class, I see my students' self esteem and confidence boost. Because many times when someone's confidence is low, it's simply because they are probably not confident in how to do something and how to conduct themselves in a certain environment and what to do. And so when you provide them with the tools and the skills and the know how, their confidence boosts. And that's what I do on a daily basis. I boost the confidence by imparting knowledge on individuals.
Recorded, and let's get this intro.
I am an individual who has grown tremendously and has been led, and I have to warn you, I have been led by the Holy Spirit, by my God. I don't leave him out for any reason. The fact is that it was not my idea to start this etiquette school. It wasn't a desire, it wasn't a dream. In fact, I never used the word etiquette until one day, one evening rather, right before my slumber, before me getting going off to sleep for the rest of the night. The Lord spoke to me and said, I want you to create and establish an etiquette school and establish a series of etiquette DVDs. Now, I look back and realize that he was preparing me for this juncture because I used to, before this school was established, I would mentor girls who grew up without their father, girls who had to find that self love, and just young ladies in general, and teaching them how to love themselves and, despite circumstances, to press forward. And so that one evening, the Lord just spoke to me. The next day, I spoke with my husband, told him what was revealed to me, and it wasn't a dream. He literally spoke to me. I explained to my husband what was revealed, and he said, well, if God said this is what he wants you to do, we have no choice but to do it. Therefore, that was January 2014. And we, from that point, took every step necessary to establish a viable, trusting, and just relentless business. Since its establishment, God has blessed it tremendously because I continue to give him the credit. And that's where we are now.
Man, that is like the hairs in the arms. I don't even have my AC on right now, and I just got chills. Right? It's like it's those moments when we hear things. Sometimes when we are listening to a song, or there's some lyrics in a song, and it just resonates with you so much. It's like that moment when you hear something like that, and I tell people often, like, we have to continue to live while we're alive. If you have a goal, if you have a dream, go for it. They say sometimes the biggest thing that people say when they're, about to cross is that I wish I did, that regret, right? I wish, and for you to
Yes.
hear that and say, this is it, that that is so impactful and so powerful that it just makes me say that I can't even go with it. I was sharing with you a funny story a second ago, and I want you to maybe touch on this if you run into people who have this. as a kid, I used to have, and not a big one, but I think I had a speech impediment. And I could not, for the life of me, ever pronounce my T's and my K's. I used to say screet. I was going down the street, or or with. I was with him. Who I was with him. I was with them down, at the friend's house. And it took a very conscious effort for many years for me to work at speaking and slowing down and saying
Hmm.
mountain or street. And even to this day, I still do it. I make sure, because I had a coach in the time, I had to make sure I put my tongue there. Do you run into people who maybe who come to your courses or classes, or young kids or anyone, and they feel that that in itself could hinder them from being in that etiquette's classification?
Absolutely. We are a product of our environment. And as children, we somewhat do not have a control over what affects us, what impacts us. However, when we're in those environments, and for example, we like to shorten our words. I say to my students all the time, this generation and other generations have this lazy tongue syndrome where we don't take the time to pronounce our letters. And that's extremely important. If if you say screet, and I've had students who say screet, I tell them to slow down, be in the moment, take the time to intentionally pronounce that letter because that letter matters. And so, especially the T, the letter T, we have a habit of making it sound like a D, letter or etiquette or matter. It's a T or two T's, so it's matter. So it's all you hit the nail on the head, Lion. It's all about slowing down and taking the time. So I teach my students to be intentional when pronouncing their words. Now, no one is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all mess up here and there. So if you mispronounce a word, just remember, slow down and correct it. And the more you do it, the more it becomes a part of your conversations and a part of your dialogues in general.
It is so important when we hear these kind of things because, you know, a quick story. So we were coming back, and I shared with you earlier, we were coming back from Miami yesterday. We were at a podcast summit convention, and we were at this gas station, travel station, and it was the first time I've seen it on social media. I've never been there, but it was called Bucky's. And so I was like, oh, I got so excited. I was like, I told my wife, I was like, oh, look, there's a Bucky's. And she's like, what? And I was like, I've seen it so many places, but I wanted to go. But the reason why I'm bringing that part into the story is because when we get to pass down the knowledge, right? So I was in there with my wife and my son, and there was a moment where he came to me afterwards, and he's like, Dad, I was standing here, and this lady walked by, and she almost slipped, and I reached out and I was to grab her. He's 9 years old. And then she got up, and he said that she told him that she has a titanium leg, so it buckles sometimes. And she,
Mm.
was thanking him. And he's like, yes, ma'am. And she told him, she says, wow, you're like one of the only ones who will attempt to help me sometimes if I stumble. And then you're so mannerable. And he's like, I got that from my dad. And it was like a moment of, like, I almost shed a tear. Just that one
Aw.
moment, because I really work to instill in him, yes, ma'am, those manners,
Yes.
like you said, consciously thinking to say, I can say yes, ma'am. I can say thank you. I can take time to say, how are you as well, um, in learning those things. And I make a conscious effort for that. So when you were speaking on that, I was like, that's it. We have to make, as I say, generational choices. We don't have generational curses. There's not like someone
Yes.
put some eye of newt or something in a pot and they were stirring it up. They put a curse on us. It's our choice to slow down, to enunciate
Yes.
those letters, to have that focus on it. And I love that. And I love your mission. So I want to know, though, what inspires you to continue your mission, to continue pushing because I can see the backlash or the pushback rather of people saying, "Oh, why do I need to have etiquette? Why do I need to sit properly or hold this fork upside down?" And I tried it. I watched your video, and I tried it, and some rice fell on my shirt, and I was like, "Yeah, this is gonna take practice." But what is some pushback that you get for that?
I do receive pushback at